पानेन ते देव कथा सुधाय प्रबुद्ध भक्त विसदासये वैराग्यसारं प्रतिलभ्य बोधं यथाग्नसान्युर् अकुण्ठधृष्टम् पानेन ते देव कथा सुधाय प्रबुद्ध भक्त विसवासयाये वैराग्यसारं प्रतिलभ्य बोधं यथाग्नसान्युर् अकुण्ठधृष्टम्. Word by word meaning. Panena, by drinking. Te, of you. Deva, O Lord. Katha, topics. Sudhaya, of the nectar. Prabdha, highly enlightened. Bhaktya, by devotional service. Visada Ashraya, with great serious attitude. Yea, those who, Vairagya Saram, the entire purport of renunciation. Pratilavya, achievement. Bodham, intelligence. Yatha, as much as. Agyasa, quickly. Unview, achieve. Akuntha Drishnya, Vaikuntha Loka, in the spiritual sky. Word by translation by His Divine Grace Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Lord, persons who, because of their serious attitude, attain the stage of enlightened devotional service, achieve the complete meaning of renunciation and knowledge, and attain the Vaikuntha Loka in the spiritual sky, simply by drinking the nectar of your topics. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The difference between the impersonalist, mental speculators, and the pure devotees of the Lord is that the former pass through a measurable understanding of the absolute truth at every stage, whereas the devotees enter into the kingdom of all pleasures, even for the beginning of their attempt. The devotees has only to hear about devotional activities, which are as simple as anything in ordinary life. And he also acts very simply, whereas the mental speculators has to pass through a jugglery of words, which are partially facts and partially a makeshift for the maintenance of an artificial impersonal status. In spite of his strenuous efforts to attain perfect knowledge, the impersonalist attains merging into the impersonal oneness of the Brahmajyoti of the Lord, which is also attained by the enemies of the Lord, simply because of their being killed by him. The devotees, however, attain to the highest stage of knowledge and renunciation and achieve the Vaikuntha Lokas, the planets in the spiritual sky. The impersonalist attain only the sky and doesn't achieve any tangible transcendental bliss, whereas the devotees attain to the planets where real spiritual life prevails. With a serious attitude, the devotee throws away all achievements like so much dust, and he accepts only devotional service, the transcendental culmination. Om Ajnanati Virandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmritam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namo Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadat Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uttapadakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Hina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Visvanusate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpataruvesha Kripasinduvevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Gachal Nivasa Nityaya Paramatmane Parabhuta Subhadrabhyam Jagannath So thank you so much for joining this wonderful Nityam Bhagavad Seva forum. So what a powerful verse to start the day with after this wonderful chanting. So here, Maitreya Muni is responding to various different questions. And here he's touching upon a very key tenet of our attainment of the Supreme. And that is right in the first line of the verse, which says, Katha Sudhaya. Katha Sudhaya. Beautifully. Panena te deva Katha Sudhaya. How we can hear the beautiful pastimes of the Lord through this katha, and that is like drinking. So you are hearing something through your sense of hearing, and that is like drinking. So you're using two senses in this context. Just by hearing, you're drinking the nectar, and simultaneously we're using our senses. So there is a multiple senses which is being attained, which is negotiated, which is being in the service of the Lord at any point in time. And what a way to start hearing Krishna Katha in the beginning of the day, even for someone who is speaking, and start the day. So just to give a background, a little bit of background. So in this verse, we are now in 46. So in verse 2 to 16, Vidurji started asking some very powerful questions, powerful series of questions to Maitreya Muni in a very, very submissive way. He started with questioning around the pains people go through these fruitive activities and how they are misguided for the attainment of happiness. And then his question lent into the instruction on devotional service, seeking instruction from Maitreya Muni about devotional service. When great personalities talk, people discuss about their talk later. And this happened thousands of years ago. And we're still discussing the questions Vidurji asked and the answers Maitreya Muni gave. And then Vidurji, after being compassionate to the earthly souls, is also asking about the incarnation of the Lord. What are the various incarnations of the Lord? What are the planets and how he created it? And around 13, he asked about hearing Krishna Katha. Those are the series of questions from verse 2 to 16, Vidurji is asking. And from 17 onwards, Maitreya Muni is trying to respond in a very beautiful way. First, he glorifies Vidurji for his sincere questions, and he glorifies his father Vyasadeva beautifully. And we discussed about it so nicely as to how he's responding. When a question is being asked, there is a lot of impetus put in why the person is asking that question. So for a person who is answering, once when he glorifies, that shows his compassion for the question maker, because he has spent that much time to pose that question in his mind. And no question is a bad question. And then the first response from Maitreya Muni is answering one of the questions he asked in the middle of his series of questions. But the first response from Maitreya Muni is the cosmic creation of Supreme Personality, the cosmic creation of this material world by planets by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is responding about the Srishti Leela of the Lord, the awe and reverence he carries, because the Lord has created this world, and not a single thing moves without the approval of the Lord. And he wants to start right then and there, explaining about the Supreme Personality of the Lord, which is the Srishti Leela, then goes to incarnation of the Lord, Then we discussed about the Mahatattva. And from 30 onwards, we're dwelling on the mind, false ego, senses, elements, sky, water, and various different elements. And verse 40 onwards, we are discussing how living beings derive solace in the lotus feet of the Lord. And then today, we're hearing the importance of Katha, which is actually the 13th verse about the question. So as you can see, the answers and the questions, they are not one in one order. And that is where the couple of things which really stands out from this question and answers. First, Vidurji is so compassionate. He starts with the problems we are facing. Vidurji is very compassionate, which stands out. That was his first question. And then Maitreya Muni, he is glorifying a Vaishnava, which is also the quality of a Vaishnava. And secondly, he starts with awe and reverence for the Lord by staying with the importance of the Lord. He didn't answer the first question the way it appeared. His way of answering is to give that element of awe and reverence to the Lord. And so he didn't start with, the Ras Leela of the Lord, for that matter. Nowadays, many Kathakars, to save time, they would start with Ras Leela. But here, he started with the Srishti Leela of the Lord, which is so very profound in his response. And then, as you can see, he is answering every question in his answers. So nowadays, when some people try to ask one or two questions, we cannot memorize. We don't have that sense of memory. And then we ask, can you rephrase your question, please? But look at this. All the questions were answered and all the questions were asked. So the kind of memories the Munis and Rishis, these Mahajans used to carry was awesome. You just have to hear Krishna Katha to get that element of respect for them, because the kind of questions they have asked and the kind of answers this Maitreya Muni is giving, and the area from where they're coming from to present the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the philosophy is immense. So today we are going to hear from Maitreya Muni about the importance of Katha, which was the 13th verse, and now we're on the 46th verse with the answer for Katha. So here in this verse, there are mention of two critical things around mental speculators, as to if you try to dissect this verse properly. So the mental speculators, the belief in ascending view of knowledge acquisition. So they are typically the Gyanis, so they take something and they use some portion of that spiritual injection. They don't start from nowhere, it's not as if they have nothing. They take something, but they often take the unimportant or the ones which lack importance, and they try to magnify it. So once you start with an incorrect start, then you go nowhere. Like say, for example, you're using Google Maps to go from A to B, but you start by virtue of some setting turned out to be wrong. You will not reach in time because your start is wrong, and then you'll say reconnecting. So that's exactly this. They rely on too much of this technical information, and they think they can get there. And that's where Brahmaji is mentioning in 10.14.4. These people go through kleshanti ye kevala bodhalabdha. If someone gives up that path and engages in cultivation of speculative knowledge, he will simply undergo a troublesome process. It's a troublesome process and will not achieve his desired result. Kleshanti, so much of trouble. And they will not get this because the start is not right, the method is not right, and They are the ascending methods. It's full of speculation, and that is where they could never understand this simple process. And here Srila Prabhupada mentions this Krishna consciousness can be understood by very simple people because the process is very simple. But in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, in this age of envy, we are not simple. That's why we cannot understand it. If we're very simple, we'll understand it very simply. So that's the technical aspect of ascending method of knowledge acquisition. And those are the mental speculators. So the pure devotees of the Lord, the process of knowledge acquisition is not ascending, it's descending. So what is descending method of knowledge acquisition? The descending method of knowledge acquisition start with hearing. So we hear from a bona fide source, with bona fide saintly person, bona fide, pure devotee of Krishna, and based on his understanding from his descending point, and from his descending point, evam parampara praptam, right? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the only way to learn about me is through evam parampara prapta, through the disciplic succession, through the descending process. And there are many processes, the 9 process, we'll simply glean over it at the end of the katha because I have a slide for that. But the starting of that 9 process is hearing. So it starts with hearing. And here, Maitreya Muni is saying, just by hearing Krishna Katha, devotees gain a lot of pleasure. Katha Sudhaya. So by hearing Katha, you're hearing, and also you are panena, you are also drinking. So those are the 2 senses which are so nicely engaged. So the power of Katha in our method of spiritual progress is immense. So here, Brahmaji once again is explaining, clarifying in the 10.4.3. I'll just read the translation for the lack of time. I have something more to cover. So those who, even while remaining situated in their established social positions, throw away the process of speculative knowledge, and with their body, words, and mind, offer all respects of description of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees. Certainly conquer your lordships, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the 3 words. So here, Brahmaji is saying in 10.14.3 that the only way to learn about you is to throw away the process of speculative knowledge and only learn from a bona fide source, from you actually. Whatever we are studying here has originally come from Krishna. And Krishna has spoken Bhagavad Gita. Krishna's pastimes are explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. So as the information has truly come from Krishna, the only way who can really propagate is Krishna. And if he chooses to reveal himself through someone, he will choose to reveal himself through his kripa or his mercy. And through the pure devotees, only we can understand this Krishna consciousness, not through speculative principles, not through any method. So that is the reason why the descending process of knowledge acquisition, spiritual knowledge acquisition, is critical. And that is the 2 technical differences we need to really choose about. Do we want to go from unknown to known and then eventually think about, hey, I'm getting there. This is a classic example. This Gyanis tend to understand. We sometimes give. So sometimes when you get a letter from your mother, like 20, 30 years ago, you're in a hostel, and sometimes your mother expresses her feelings properly, and sometimes she may not. But the person who is Gyani, from the letter, If he can understand everything about the mother, maybe that is incomplete. But there are other people who love their mother well. Seeing the letter may think, maybe my mother is hiding something. Maybe my father has some ailments. Maybe it needs some thinking. So those are the two lines of thought which comes from a letter. Then as the time progresses, we have this, um, face time. So you see the face of the mother and you think, my mother is well. No, maybe my mother is not well. So that those are the yogi concept. You have the jnanis and you have the yogis with the face time trying to look at the mother and trying to think, yeah, my mother is okay, but I'm seeing him, I'm seeing the ball of fire in sun. Maybe I know it, but the real son would like to go to the mother, would like to massage the feet of the mother, would like to take care of the mother, would like to serve in a personal way, face to face. And then he will know that, hey, my mother was really true in explaining that there was there was no problem. But when I became more close and I had my personal relationship, she could divulge some of her challenges. So that's bhakti. The letter in this example are the Gyanis method. They think by the letter they know everything. The yogis are thinking about the face time and they think they know everything by seeing it, seeing um, through the ball of fire. But we are interested about about the person behind it. We are interested in serving the person behind it, and that is personally serving. And that's the difference between Gyanis, yogis, and bhaktas. And we want to hear by abandoning the process of speculative knowledge and aligning ourselves with the process of disciplic knowledge acquisition through the descending process of hearing. So then, Prabhupada mentions something very beautiful here. He's saying, with a serious attitude, the devotees throw away all achievements like so much of dust, and he accepts only devotional service, the transcendental culmination. So watch the words here. So this person who is very devoted, he throws away all the achievements, all the material achievements, so much of dust, like dust. But the speculators, when they're really filtering the achievements and dust, they sometimes pick up dust actually. So they do not understand what needs to be thrown away and what's need to be kept. So we'll take two examples here. So when Hanumanji got the pearl necklace from Mother Sita, he looked at the pearl. He didn't find Ram and Sita in there. So he threw it. And when it was questioned and he finally showed Ram and Sita in his heart, you see, Hanuman's devotion in this context is throwing away the achievement or the material achievements where he doesn't find his supreme master. He understood what is right for him. And for that pastime, Hanuman ji is revered. And it is such an inspiration to hear about that pastime thousands of years later and relate to what Prabhupada is saying. A real devotee, a true devotee, throws away the things which are materially aligning him and accepts what is spiritually aligning him. So he knows how to filter. See, devotees are humble, they are not meek. Devotees are very intelligent. And we, through these methods of hearing, should recognize what is right and what is wrong, what to throw away. Because devotees are also challenged in their life in many times. But devotees take most of the time right decisions because they are driven by the descending process of knowledge acquisition of hearing and not behave in a in a in a confusing or in a difficult manner. So there's another example actually. So we had a Prabhuji before. His name was Devamrit Das. He was working in a big bank and he was in a big position in a bank. He was very close to becoming one of the executives, or he was that this close. So he got association from his devotees. He 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 transformed himself, and he was working and he was still preaching. And one fine day, what he did, he took all the bank balance he had, and there is a beautiful BTG article on it, which I was trying to get, but I couldn't because BTG is not online, and I was not finding that book also. But I have that book somewhere. He collected all his bank balance, and there is a nice, you know, nice little picture. So he collected all his bank savings. He took all his bank savings and put it in the hundi of Radha Gopinath temple he was associated with. And then he changed his robes and he stayed back in the temple. So he knew what to throw. So all the material achievements, what Prabhupada is saying right here, with a serious attitude, the devotee throws away all the achievements like a dust. So what he did, he took all his bank balance he gained from his high post he had, he threw it like a dust into the hundi, with respect, of course. And Devamrit Das is His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj now. And what an exemplary personality he is. That's something what Prabhupada said in this verse about trying to accept what is needed and how to throw dust, all the material achievements. So as you all know, just for the record, the first thing in our process of bhakti starts with hearing, which is exactly what this verse is trying to do. So of the 9 processes, more we hear, better we hear, qualitatively we hear, time we spent in hearing, it is the best. I think if we do the first thing well, sometimes in a chess game, if the first couple of moves are good, the game is half won. So if the first thing is done properly, all the 9 things are important. There's no taking away any of this. But if you do the first thing properly, the Shravanam properly, which Maitreya Muni is so nicely explaining about the importance of Katha, importance of nectar, it is going to help us. So with that, I'd like to end here. The importance of Katha Sudha, which Maitreya Muni is so beautifully explaining about the importance of Katha in seeking solace in our lives. So with that, I'd like to end here. Wish you a very nice day. Weather is looking good. So wishing you my humble, offering you my humble obeisances. And if there are any comments, we can hear or later. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Nice class. Yeah, just reflecting on this Sudhaya. So beautiful verse from Canto 10, I think. Barahapetam Natavarapu Karnayo Karnikaram Bibrad Vasa Kanakapsam Vaijayanti Chamalam Randran Venor Adara Sudhaya Purayan Gopa Vrundai Vrindaranyam Sapadaраmanam Pravishad Gita Git. Just meditating how with Krishna playing the flute here, they're talking, gopis are talking about the nectar coming from the flute from the lips of the Supreme Lord, and they're drinking. So that I'm meditating, and then from Krishna, the same thing is happening when Krishna played the flute. That whole Gopal Gayatri and Kama Gayatri gave to Lord Brahma. So he's drinking that nectar and passing down further down through disciplic succession. And by the mercy of our founder Acharya, we are able to drink that nectar and his disciples. Just reflecting on that. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Hema Jagannath Prabhu. I'd like to wish you all a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. Today, yeah. Is the Bengali New Year today or something?
Yeah, in India.
India, Vaishakhi.
Yeah, here it's over yesterday, I think. So,
Yeah, so we'll wish everybody happy Vaishakhi. Okay. On that note, I would like to offer our humble obeisances at the lotus feet of all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha
Kalpatarubhas Kapasindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Vaishnavi ki jai, Grantharashi Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Hema Jagannath Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Wonderful
Very nice
class.
class.
Nice examples. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.